welcome to my channel. I'm Rhonda and this is part 3 of the swimsuit cover-up. If you haven't done part 1 and part 2 yet, I will link you to those. Please do it. It's easy. It's quick to work up, it's fun, and you're going to end up with something beautiful in the end. And now I am going to show you how to put your panels together. It's super easy, it's super quick, and the only thing left to do after that is wear it to the beach, wear it to the pool, and prepare to catch the glances of people admiring your sense of fashion and coming up to you asking where you got that gorgeous cover up. So let's do it. Now I will say that at the beginning I did go off the screen a little bit. I was really not doing too well with my filming, but be patient because I do get myself back centered on the screen so you can see how I'm doing my stitching. So without further ado, let's go and do this. Okay, so here are my 2 completed panels side by side, and in order to do a fitting, what I suggest is taking stitch markers and just tacking up your garment along the back and trying it on, just throwing it over your shoulder and seeing how you feel with it to see if it's wide enough. And then once you've done that, now it's time to think about where you're going to assemble it together, how you're going to do that. Are you going to do just the back and make it a cardigan, or are you going to do both the back and the front and make it like a cover-up dress? Now for me, I think I'm going to make it just closed in the back and of course at the sides. And so what I've done is I've put my right sides together, so I'm going to be sewing it up on the wrong side. And remember, one end has the chain 2 and then the double crochet at the end. I want those at the same end preferably. I've also done a bit of color control, as you can see. I wanted to have them come together and be pretty similar, so I've done that. And now having them side by side, the only thing I've done here, and I'll try to slide over, is I've got stitch markers here, and above that is going to be my opening for my V neckline, and I wanted it slightly open with a nice V shape at the back as well as the front. Well, at the front it really doesn't matter because I'm going to have it open, but I wanted to have the V neckline at the back being quite open. So I marked off where I want to complete my sewing. Now with the panels, when I fastened them off, one end, and I'll show you here, one end I just fastened off with a little bit of length, and the other one I left quite a bit here to be able to sew up to the point that I want. I probably left more than enough, but I always choose to do that as opposed to not having enough. I'd rather have more than enough, kind of like how I entertain with dinner. I want more than enough food. I want more than enough of yarn to sew up my back to make sure that I don't run out. So just to give you an idea of my measurements, when I go across this way, I have approximately 18 or 19. I mean, the thing is, this stretches out. This is really stretchy, so it could end up being wider or narrower depending on how far apart these panels are stretched when you lay them on your table. So I would say about 18 or 19 across, and then I believe my length was about 34. So a nice length, and I can't, yeah, 34. I can't get you all the way to the top, but kind of like that. And so now I've got and I could tack it together, but I'm just going to go on faith with my stitching and just make sure, starting over here, when I thread my darning needle, that I'm going to start at the bottom stitch and just work my way up stitch by stitch. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Let's bring it down a little bit here. Trying to get you to see. The short loose end, I'm just going to move it aside and not worry about that. And I'll try to give you the best view I can to show you exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I have my yarn here on this panel. I hope you can see that okay. And then I'm going to bring it to the bottom stitch here, and I'll put it in the back loop just to fasten them together. Then I'll put these two together. I'll just go through both stitches in the back loops just to give them a good solid connection here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way into the back loop and the back loop, like so. And basically that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go from, now that I'm on this, back on this side, I'm going to go in through the back loop of this stitch, pull it through, and find the same stitch on the other side and go into that stitch from underneath. Okay, so then I'll go into this stitch here and go across to the other side and pull. And I'll go across to the other side, pull through. And now I'm going to go into underneath this stitch. And then go into this side here. And I'm just going to keep going along that way, trying to make these stitches as invisible as possible, just connecting to the back loops. And you can see it does connect quite nicely because we want it to look like one piece. And I'm just going to go all the way up the length here until I reach my stitch markers. And that's it. So you can see that you can't really see a seam, and it looks like the mesh is pretty naturally transitioning over. Okay, I'm going to work my way up the length here until I get to my stitch markers where I want to finish off, and then I will come back to you and I will talk to you about where we want to put our armhole openings and stitching down the side. So I will meet you back here when I get to my stitch markers. The other thing I'd like to mention is when you're doing your stitching, make sure that you don't pull too tight, because you don't want your fabric to gather as you stitch. So you want to make sure you have the best tension that you can have without pulling too tight. So you can pull at the other end just to make sure that you're not pulling everything too tight. I've got my hand at this end just to make sure it still lays flat. Okay, I tried my garment on and decided it was a little bit too low at the back. I didn't want it to slide off my shoulders and feel sloppy or uncomfortable. So I ended up making it from the bottom of the neckline to the shoulder, 8 inches. That was mine. And I could adjust it further once I have it put together. I'll do my final fitting and decide from there. So I'm going to leave this extra bit of yarn, so if I want to make an adjustment, I can. Now with the sleeve portion, with the armhole opening, I decided I am going to make it from the bottom of the armhole to the top 13 inches. And that gives me a lot of room to move around, makes it a little more poncho-like. I'm going to try that and see how it goes. I'm going to do the stitching the same along the side, but I'm going to leave a nice long slit. I haven't decided yet how much of a slit I'm going to leave at the bottom. I'm guessing probably, I would say about 9 inches. And I'll try that on and I'll see how that goes, because I know I can always make it a shorter slit, or I could take some yarn out and make it bigger, but I'm thinking I might be happy with a 9-inch slit. So what I need to do is mark that off, and then I know that I'm going to sew from one stitch marker down to where my slit starts, and I do that on both sides, try it on, see how it goes, and make any adjustments from there. And that's it, really. I don't think I need to direct you anymore. I think you just need to go and try on your garment as you go along. That's the nice thing about this. It's really easy, just 2 panels, and you fit it as you go and decide how wide you want your panels to be. You can always add to them if you want a little more fabric. And honestly, because it's mesh, really, there is no right or wrong. You can either have it more fitted where you see more definition of the mesh as it pulls, or you can have it drapier and hanging looser on you. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about the final touches on this cover up, let you know how I did them, and you don't have to do them the same way. You can make it your own, but I'm going to let you know what I did, and then you can do anything that you would like to finish off your piece. So what I've done here is at this edge, I have chosen where I want to start my opening, my collar, because I wanted to have the option of closing it. So I brought it right down, because remember, my bathing suit is going to be underneath, so it could be really nice and low. And from that point, I added the 24/7 cotton. What I did was all the way around, I did a round of half double crochets, and then from there I did a couple of rows of front and back post half double crochets to create this ribbed edging. Now you don't have to have an edging, or you could have an edging that's not a ribbed edging. You could just do a half double crochet or a double crochet or a single crochet, whatever you like. Now, of course, adding that, it's sticking out a little bit. So from that little flap where it's sticking out, if you can see that, that's where I added my braid. I pulled the yarn through and I braided it from there. And then I just did a crisscross because it's mesh. I could put it wherever I like, and then just tied it loosely at the bottom. So I'm going to open it up and show you how I've done that. So you can see that I just crisscrossed the yarn loosely. And this way, this garment can be worn either open or closed. So here it is when it's open, and you can see that I've just added the braid here, and it can just hang down loosely like that, which I think also looks nice. If I wanted added coverage to cover up the bathing suit, then that's when I would crisscross the braids like so. And I'll do it back up. And I like to do it loosely because it shows the definition of the crisscross. I think it looks really pretty like that. And I could do it over or under, whichever way looks good. Over looks good as well, because it shows like that X shape here. These final ends, I'll bring them out like that. So I could do a lot of different things with the braid to give it that added style. So here I just have that little X and then the tie down here. See how nice that looks? So that's what I did, and I hope that you'll go ahead and try this out. Show it to me. Send me pictures to my email, which will be in the description box below, because I really want to see what you come up with. I love to see your ideas, your color choices. So go ahead and have fun with it. It really is a fun project. I hope you'll give it a try and show me what you come up with. And I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye for now.